guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, yeah, totally.
All right. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Big Stupid Podcast. I'm Kevin.
And I'm John.
And ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest.
Very special. I'm very excited for this.
I am super excited.
I can't even play the what are we doing today? I can't even play this one because this is like, this is gonna be a fun one. So
yeah, John always pretends like he doesn't know what's going on, but today you can't hold back. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest, Lorenzo Antonucci. Everybody.
yes.
Hey.
He's been in Ballers, he's been in Game of Thrones, and currently he is in Paradise City on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, go check it out.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
We got a lot to get to, a lot that we'd like to talk to you about. So let's get into it. Why don't you tell us about yourself growing up? I know you are from Italian and Puerto Rican family. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about growing up in school. Like you were just before we started recording, you were telling us about how it was in school for you a little bit. So let's dive into that.
All right. Well, my name is Lorenzo Antonucci. I'm from Jamaica, Queens. I'm Puerto Rican and Italian. My mom was Puerto Rican from Vega Alta, and my father's from Naples, so I'm half and half, and first generation. Queens, New York, born in East New York, Brooklyn, raised in Queens, so I'm a hybrid of all sorts of cultures. I'm a mixed mutt, and I'm very confused of who I am sometimes. One day I'm extremely Puerto Rican, and then the next day I'm extremely Italian. Sometimes I'm just a hybrid, but. Grew up, listening to hip hop, listening to rock and roll and metal and hardcore and freestyle music, Judy Torres and, TKA and
TKA
like that,
love, baby.
Freestyle, yeah, exactly. That people know about. Shout out to Gino for making the movie Cruise. He made that movie Cruise. It's all about cruising Franny Lou and listening to freestyle. With the Grand Nationals, that's stuff that I did when I was a kid before I started playing guitar and then joining a band and then fast forward touring in the world and getting signed to Elektra Records and then being on tour with Ozzy and Korn and Slayer and Hatebreed and Marilyn Manson, Disturbed, Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall, my brother from another mother, Anthony Martini, and everyone else in E-Town. I love them all. E-Town Concrete is New Jersey natives. I know you guys are from Jersey, so I just wanted to shout them out. I'm just from so many different worlds I come from. Just reflecting on everything I've done. It's just such a long journey to get to where I am today. And yeah, I was a street kid, knucklehead in the school. They didn't want to go to school. My father made me go to work. At 13, I was lifting cars up on a lift and changing brakes and doing oil changes, ripping motors out of engines, and that's what I did when I didn't want to go to school because I was I was a degenerate. I didn't want to go to school. And so I never could read until I read the Motley Crue book, Dirt. And, that was a fun moment because I read that on our tour bus, and there was story time with Lorenzo Antonucci and the bus driver to laugh at me fucking up every word and destroying every word and making up every word. And I'll tell you another story about another word that I made up that was reading. And I don't care. I feel comfortable about you guys to know, who I am exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I definitely am a street kid that didn't go to school, and I have dreams that I have aspirations that just make people head spin. Like, what is this kid out of his mind? And that's the school I grew up in. The mentality I have. But yeah, I did everything I dreamed about being in a band, except being a millionaire from it. That was about it. That didn't happen, but everything else did.
So how did that dream come about? What were your influences? How did you get into it? Did you have like a knack for it when
Well, I played guitar, and I was getting lessons from this kid Pete Ross, good friend of mine at the time. I haven't heard from him in a long time, and I hope he's good. But he was my guitar teacher, and he was an influential person in my life because I looked up to his guitar playing, and he was the cool kid in school, and in elementary and junior high school. So not elementary, junior high school. And he introduced me to Mike Palmer, which was his bass player of another band that they played in together, or he just knew him, and he had a band. And then his band was Corruption with the singer Sal from Sworn Enemy, who me and him, obviously turns all the bands that we did from Corruption on until we made Sworn Enemy, and that's how that started. But we broke our ass for 10 years until we got signed to a major label.
See, I wish that I when I was in high school that I knew a good musician, but I just didn't know anybody that was musically inclined at all.
Well, you knew a musician, you didn't know a good one.
Oh.
He's busting my balls now because like I've always played in like some sort of like band. I was a singer in a band, and then like I was a bassist in a punk band. Basically like 4-chord shit where you just make our own stuff up, and stuff like that. And this guy would hang out with us, and we gave him like this metal thing to like ping on, and he was like he was in the band type shit.
The band, motherfucker, I'm telling you.
But I'm a big fan of like punk hardcore stuff, the 90s and all that. I mean, it was just a great time for music and everything like that. And
it was the last great time for music.
It really was. And that was like, I feel like that was like the last time like rock was like, any type of rock or metal or hardcore or punk or anything like that was like relevant. And I just feel like today it's just struggling to come back up, and a lot of the band, it's just not, even like a Metallica or like you mentioned Ozzy and Slayer, they're still around, but it's not it's really not like mainstream,
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not at their peak anymore. Sorry to say, but they're on their way out. I mean, Ozzy's like what, 80 years old? I mean,
not as much Ozzy, but all right. So,
well, the good news the good news is that Metallica still does 65,000 people a night. You know what I mean? And none of these other young big stars are doing half that, on their own. So that gives hope for a lot of the music that we grew up loving and the iconic rock and metal stuff that we all love, because it's very hard to do what Metallica does. It's very hard. Those are very hard numbers, and they do them everywhere, and they're still bigger than most.
I mean, I will say I went to the Revelations reunion show with I think it was Youth of Today and Into Another. And man, oh boy, it was like a couple of years ago. That show was sick.
Yeah, but
it was wild.
I mean, Youth of Today Into Another, like you don't get those shows anymore.
It was a reunion show. It was a couple of years ago. It was I forget where the hell it was. It was in Jersey somewhere, and let me tell you, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was just Revelation just put out this tour. It's like almost like a last chance tour where you get to see it. And I saw Into Another a second time down in Asbury Park somewhere, and once again they were just awesome. I mean, really like fun to watch and everything.
Well, the Revelation records always had like kind of like Victory had the same thing. Like people were fans of those bands on Victory, so they had like their own fan base. And it was just like, you got signed to Victory, you got signed to Revelation, you automatically you automatically had a fan base built in that either, would like you off the top or would gradually like you because they would be forced to see you all the time. So yeah, Into Another, I've never seen you to tell you Into Another, and I love those bands, but unfortunately, I never played with them either. I mean, even when we would do the big festivals in Europe, we would never get to play with those bands. Or we got to play with the Cro-Mags a few times, and we toured with AF. We was in Russia with AF. I mean, that's iconic in that sense alone. Me and Vinny Stigma was so bombed in some freaking sushi joint. Forget about it. I pulled out. I got dragged out. I haven't had a drink in 7 years. We got dragged out of the bar because I was trying to eat the sushi. Was on a bridge in Russia, in Moscow. I fell in the freaking thing because I was so hammered. I don't remember because the vodka was like water. It was like water. And I was like, what? This ain't nothing. Beep, beep, taking it down. Forget it, man. Nothing. I was the worst. And we had to fly back. That was a great trip, but I don't remember half of it because it was like 2 days, St. Petersburg, Moscow, and we were drunk everybody was drunk the entire time.
That's good. That's great times, man. That's good times.
So now you started learning from your friend Pete, and how did it go from there?
Well, I took the lessons, and then I started playing a lot of then he got me into hardcore pretty much. He started showing me like bands like Biohazard, and I mean I discovered Biohazard on MTV Headbangers Ball, but he got me into like Life Agony. That's who he got me because I remember listening to the demo they had before River Runs Red. So that's how I started really getting into it. And then I met Sal, and he would introduce me to a lot of bands. He was a little older than me. And then I was in actually a school, which was not really a high school, but I was with school with Freddie Madball. And we were like I was 14, he was about 15 or 16, and he was, just starting the band Madball. And I was listening in the class. I remember it vividly. I'm sitting on a chair like I am here, and he's across from me, like right here. And I'm listening to Sick of It All Biohazard. And he goes, what are you listening to? And I'm like, Sick of It All Biohazard. And he goes, he took his headphones off and put it on mine. And he said, this is my band Madball. And I was listening to Colossal Man Skinhead.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is iconic shit, like 1991 maybe. I was a kid with braids, and like one tattoo at 14.
Wow, Madballs. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's like just right place, right time shit, where you're like, oh yeah, this is my band, I'm 15. And now Madballs
like I'm about to become a fucking star.
I know, yeah, Madballs like an iconic hardcore. I mean, they're like everybody knows Madball.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's awesome.
I'm like.
So now how did you form your band and you or did you go through
we went through the first band was me and Sal and a guy named Richie, and Zoli was the drummer and Mike Palmer was the bass player. We were called Corruption. Then that kind of fell apart, and then we morphed into Downfall. That fell apart, and then morphed into Mindset, and this was already like 3 or 4 years into it. And it was just like, felt like we went nowhere for that long. So then Mindset started in 97 or 98. And then that's when Jamie Josta from Hatebreed discovered us, and he started helping us. And because Kevin Scandata was our manager, and then Kevin introduced us to Jamie, and then Jamie started managing. I don't know how that ended. I don't know how Jamie ended up managing us. I know that it was a weird moment in time, but then Jamie started managing us, and he's like, he was going to put out the record Mindset on his record label, and we were like all excited about it. And then he was like, there's another Mindset in Philly. I don't want a lawsuit. So we had to change the name then he changed the name to Sworn Enemy.
Wow.
Changed the name to Sworn Enemy, and then we did the record, and then we had to change all the artwork. With the artwork that we had on the original EP was Mindset, and it was same artwork, same cover, but we just changed it to Sworn Enemy and had to just redesign everything. And then we went and off to the races, and then we started touring in 2000. We were nobody knew who we were. We had a little buzz. Jamie would give out stickers. Jamie would give out samples, at his shows and stuff like that. He would put us on these little weekend warrior shows with Hatebreed or with Death Threat or was the Shadows Fall, or maybe Agnostic Front. We would do like a lot of like weekend shows with Madball, things like that he would try to get us on. And then we started to grow, and then other bands would reach out to us, and then we started our community of our friends in the bands. Hence, I'm still friends with so many of them, and then obviously they're all still brothers, even if we don't talk for 10 years, you don't skip a beat when you see them.
Yeah, it always seems like the underground scene would be more of a like a really tight knit group where you help each other out and you try to, really promote it. It's almost like you're promoting each other as well, not just yourself, because like you want everybody, to do well, because once again, it's not a mainstream type music, especially with the hardcore, and then you just want basically, you want it to grow, and that's what it is. You're not going to turn your nose up at somebody because like they're doing the same thing you're doing. It's more of a like you said, a brotherhood and everything like that, where it's like, oh, it's awesome. I mean, that's like really like oh, it's awesome. Like it's cool. I just love the whole scene, the whole underground scene.
Yeah. That's what, obviously we lived it for, I lived it for a long time until I did 20 years in the hardcore scene, like living it. Like from going to shows to, starting to get my feet wet and, getting in bands and, then touring the world. And then I still go to shows now, but, not as often, but I still listen to all hardcore when I work out, or hardcore bands when I'm running, or hardcore bands when I'm in the car. I don't listen to much anything else.
Where was your favorite place that you went to tour?
Aesthetically, or for like the fans? I mean,
everything. Like when you look back and go, well, that was a time. I went there. That was a time. Whether it was on stage, whether it was behind the scenes, whether it was the night before the concert, whatever it was.
Many beautiful places, man. I mean, it's so hard to just say one place, because Prague is beautiful. Like the city's beautiful, and the shows were great. Germany is always all awesome. Austria is beautiful. Spain, France, Belgium, Holland, all these places. Poland is just, the people they go crazy for you. They love you. Go to Russia, it's like you see all these worlds that you had never been to, and you're just like mesmerized on the culture. You're mesmerized on how long they've been around before we have, and you're just like, it's breathtaking, but you don't get to enjoy as much as you'd like, because you're sitting around and you don't have nobody to take you around, because your bus is parked up and you're either in your bus or in the venue. Yeah. And you're backstage, and then if there's no way to go walking distance, then you're kind of, at the whim of somebody, at the mercy of somebody taking you around. But yeah, all those places are great. Canada's great. There's beautiful places in Canada. I love going to Quebec, because Quebec, makes you feel like you're in Europe, but you're only like 200 miles from New York. So it's kind of weird when you're like 200 miles away, and it feels like I'm in France, because everybody talks French, and it looks so European, architecturally.
What was your favorite place to play in New York, like in the city?
Roseland.
That was my first concert. I saw Bad Religion there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Oh man, that was my first concert.
Roseland. I love CB's. I mean, CB's is always great. Lemore's, Castle Heights was where we started. That was in Queens. Urban Plaza, Wetlands, Coney Island High was amazing to play. Like we had all those great places to play. Lemoore, I already said Lemoore. We never played Webster Hall, I think, but I don't think I was in the band. But I whatever, I don't remember if I played it or not, but I don't think I was in the band playing Webster Hall, but I know they played after me, one of those Super Bowl hardcores. I believe they were on a Super Bowl hardcore. I'm not sure. It gets blurry. Yeah.
You were telling the story about the sushi. You got any other stories like that? Give us another just one
story like that. I mean, man, there's too many, man. There's too many and some of them are probably not even appropriate to talk about. Yeah, there's too many. The sushi was just I mean, there was plenty of drunken nights, you know. There was bad ones, there was fun ones, there was really awful ones that ended the band. I'll tell you the one that ended the band. We were all drunk and nobody wanted to get up and drive, and we had like a 350-mile drive to like somewhere in Arkansas. I don't even remember. And our tour manager was drunk and he was supposed to drive. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was hungover, and it was 700 degrees in the RV.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was the end. That's when I quit. I was like, I'm done. I was like, fuck this. I drove the car. I got in the driver's seat, hungover, and I was driving like a madman, throwing everything around in the RV. The whole thing was shaking. I screamed, you know, for an hour that fuck this, fuck that, I quit. I'm done. I never want to see you guys again. And that's it. And that was it. I never looked back.
Wow.
That was the end. All the drunken nights and touring and all the shit, that was the end. I gave you the last.
That was the line.
It's actually pretty much in the show, Paradise City, you know.
And you had to go to Arkansas. It was. All right, so let's talk. Do you want to talk about Paradise City, or what else you got?
We could talk about that now that you mentioned that, as a little segue into it. So so now you are the actor, writer, executive producer of Paradise City, correct?
Yeah, I'm one of the writers and definitely an executive producer and definitely one of the, reoccurring, or, pretty much the season regular. Yeah.
So how does Paradise City depict an accurate portrayal of the crazy and dark Los Angeles music scene?
Well, I mean, there's pretty much, from all experiences, that a lot of the bands on Sumerian, or just stories you've heard throughout the years, in the industry, whether it's from the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, a lot of the, label side of the stuff, a lot of the managing side, the agent side, we lived it all. The creator is definitely a record label owner, and he was in a band, he was a manager, he was an agent, he did it all on that side as well. So, it comes from an authentic spot, an authentic place where we all can pretty much really speak from experience and all intertwine it with supernatural, because there's no real supernatural, obviously. I mean, maybe there is, but, that's obviously the supernatural fictional element with the fictional bands.
So how did your experience after being the lead guitarist of Sworn Enemy inspire you to write on the show?
I mean, just the normal day shenanigans that would happen on, tour, or the business side of, all the drama that goes on in your life with not being able to pay your bills, or, some of your friends that blow up and they're big, and, like seeing how it affects them. And, a lot of people become ego driven and it's all about them. And, we kind of really focus that on the Johnny character, how, he's, obviously he's the big shot and he's the reason why everything's a disaster at the same time. Or everyone's in these intertwining, scenarios.
So is each band portrayed in the show basically a piece of everything you've experienced? Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, well, over it all is definitely all what I've experienced, for sure. That's just everything that, sprinkled on an elevated version of Sworn Enemy, because it wasn't that bad, but obviously that was what was going on when we were on our outs, when things were getting bad. The Relentless is pretty much, just a big band. Could be anybody, could be Asking, could be Black Veil Brides, it could be Kill Switch Engage. It's just any of those bigger bands that do 2,000 cap rooms. Or in this world of Paradise City, they're supposed to be, doing 30,000 people a night. They're the biggest band in the world. But that being said, I think that there's, a lot of truth,
John and I were talking before we went on that the band that you're in the show is getting older.
Mhm.
You know, and it's like, you know, about how they're trying to like trying to hold on to that last bit of, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we were watching it, and I said that the guy that in your very first scene, the guy that you are talking to, he's got the glasses and the dreads.
Yeah, singer from Lamb of God.
Well,
Randy.
Yeah, Camille told, you know, we were told that earlier, and I was like, wow. I was like, I totally didn't know. It was crazy.
But what I was saying is it looks like they just like threw a wig on him to just like, you know, like, and I was like, like you could see how he's like, you know, he's just trying to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But he is that's his real hair.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's his real hair.
No, I'm not trying to be like, I'm putting it down or nothing. It just, I think they highlighted it, you know, and the guy who fucked you up with how he's like all he's got the gut and he's bald and that's awesome. You know,
yeah,
like
he's a real agent. He's a real agent, JJ. He's a real Kasiri. He's a real agent in the business.
Wow.
Yeah, around that time he was DMX's agent right around that time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was like doing his last tours. Yeah, so we kept it as authentic as possible, but you know, that opening shot is something that's very, very authentic to a morning waking up and you're in the middle of whatever parking lot and you're just like getting bad news or good news.
Yeah, it was perfect. I and the guy's like, I didn't fucking do it. It's not my fault. Like he's like, I'm
you guys are on the poster, not me.
Yeah. Because you guys are out there, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
I really did. I loved that scene.
Wait, hold on. I think one of the funniest things about the band that you're in the show is that like it just seems like you just keep making mistakes. You know, like when you play the one show, you're like, no, we're the headliners. No, or I think it was the singer that said, no, we're the headliners. You go to the concession stand and you're like, no, we're the headliners. Yeah, and then everybody's gone, and the kid's like, "Yeah, watch this. Yeah, watch these assholes." You know, and then you're playing that one restaurant or whatever the hell it was. It was like
Greek Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Restaurant.
I was like, these fucking guys, like it's almost like you can't get like.
Can't catch a break.
You could tell you were like a big band, and then it's like you just can't catch a break now at the very end of at the rope. I'm 5 episodes deep. I mean, I was like binging the hell out of it today, and like I'm like all in with this show because I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? It's a great show.
Thank you. But that's the reality of most of the bands, you know, and the delusion of the artists in the band, how they act. They still think that they're. And they don't even see that nobody's coming. It's fucked up. You know? I mean, we had different takes of that. I felt like that take of me saying it to Cameron was like, don't worry, we'll headline. Like we had different versions. I don't know why Ash wanted to keep that version because, you know, I was becoming his friend. You know, like we started connecting and in the story he's supposed to connect, but you know, it did show Paulie being a little bit of an asshole there when we already see that he's mad at Dom for, you know, saying, oh, we're going to headline. And I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. I just want a burger. You know, I think that we could have went with a different choice. There was a different edit. I think there was different takes of me saying something that kind of ended it without me being more of a, no, don't worry, we'll headline tonight. You know, but I guess, you know, I still had to back the band up maybe a little bit too, and I had to back my singer up, and I was, you know, conflicted. Maybe that's the choice he made that. But now that I'm reflecting on it, I'm thinking about it. I don't even know why I'm thinking about it. But at the end of the day,
yeah, but I'm thinking that was the moment where you saw that the singer's fucking up. Basically, like you saw that, like after nobody was there for the show. I mean, that after, like, then you became a little more confrontational with the singer, saying, "Yo, what are you doing?" Especially at the one restaurant, at the whatever that place was. You were gonna fight the guy. You wanted to fight him. Everybody's holding you back and everything like that. So, you're starting to see that this guy is, like, once again, you said something about the ego, and it's like it's a lot of that probably does happen in bands.
A million percent. It's all because everybody just has a dream, and nobody wants to see themselves, not doing well. It's brutal to see, other people doing well and you're doing shitty. It sucks. It sucks after so hard, so much hard work put into it and years of doing it in places that you would go play, that you would crush it in, and then now you go back there and it's like nobody cares, and then everybody cares about the other band. And you're just like, what's happening? It's a real thing with all bands. I don't care who you are. I mean, it ain't happening to Metallica or Slipknot, but or any of the bigger bands. But it's happened to big bands. I've seen it with Slayer. I've seen it with Slayer playing during Slipknot, and the entire place was chanting Slipknot during Slayer.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine that. Well, that's like Motley Crue playing a county fair in the middle of Ohio and nowhere. You know what I mean?
That's like WrestleMania when The Rock faced Hogan and everybody's chanting Hogan and The Rock was fucking shocked.
I mean, Hogan and The Rock, that's a very, especially that time, Hogan was the biggest ever, then The Rock became the biggest ever. So it was kind of like you had to pay the respects to the Hogan, you know what I mean? Yeah. If I was there, I would have been chanting for Hogan.
Oh, I was at home chanting for Hogan.
Even though I love The Rock like tremendously, he's like, obviously worked with him and he's a sweet man. He's a good man, he's a good, and I've been on the phone with Hulk Hogan before too, so that's cool. But if I was a kid still, or if I was 15 or 17 at around the time that was going down, or maybe 18, whatever it was, I would have been all about Hogan, because he was still like your childhood hero. Is now passing the torch to the Rock, and then The Rock, nobody's done anything like The Rock.
Yeah.
Nobody's done an impact like that from wrestling, Nobody's done anything like Sylvester Stallone, ever. Nobody's ever done anything like Sylvester Stallone, but nobody's done anything from wrestling like The Rock. That's my two, those are the two guys that
top guys,
a model of their way I want to go.
So you play the character of Paulie. Tell us more about that character and what inspired you to create him.
Paulie is one of my best friends that passed away in 2018, and he was the drummer in Sworn Enemy for 6 years. And he was a dear friend before he was the drummer, and he was a dear friend and brother after. He was even more of a closer brother to me after he was in a band, after he left. And he passed away, and I wanted to kind of, do a tribute to him, and kind of, he was a drummer, so my character was a guitar player, so I just kind of made it a hybrid of myself and Paulie, but kind of had his mannerisms and, his positive attitude, because I was sometimes negative on tour because I was always hungover, and I was always, kind of like dealing with all the bills and stuff like that, and dealing with all the stress that, other band members weren't, and, they didn't understand. So I was always kind of cranky and grumpy. But he was the positive guy, so I wanted to be the positive dude in the show. As far as it being a band, because it's brutal. Is when you got all the bills on your head and it's all on your name, and you're going in debt or whatever it is, it's not a fun feeling when you see. Not that your band doesn't care, but it's just that's the reality of what it was, And I was I had moments that I was very cranky. So I wanted to kind of mesh them together and do a tribute to his positive ways.
It's like you should have if you're a creative person, whether you're in a band or whether you're an actor or whatever, all that kind of stuff feels like it should be taken care of by somebody else. But I guess, because of the nature of your, your business and what you do, it, there isn't that person. It's you.
Yeah.
You're the one creating. You're the one building your own brand and whatever. So it's
that kind of I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off,
No,
but
it's
that kind of comes out in Cameron Boyce's character, where he's the lead singer, he's the producer, he's setting up the shows, he's doing all those things. So is that sort of a reflection of what you were doing as a
Well, that was a good. The Cameron Boyce and Lorenzo Paulie dynamic was pretty much me and the creators dynamic in real life. But obviously the age difference was way different, and he was in a band. The Ash was in a band called the Reflux, and they were a real band that toured Europe, and they'd done some Darkest Hour tours, and they were out there making moves. And then he was the band leader that would get them shows and was booking other bands and was their booking agent, and he was promoting shows and putting them on the shows, and he kind of is that guy. And then he left the band and then started his own agency, and then he became Sworn Enemy's agent in real life. So we kind of just made a hybrid of Cameron Boyce's character and Paulie's character to be what how Ash and Lorenzo met in real life too. So it's different, but it's pretty much, that world is based on me and him, like that specific storyline. Cameron and Simon and Paulie is based on him and I, 1000%.
How did you get involved with this project?
Yeah, he had a pilot for a while that he wrote, and it was called When the Music's Over, and we all were excited to do something with it years ago, and it didn't go anywhere, and we just kind of fell in love with the business. And then he made the movie American Satan that I'm a producer on, and he decided to continue the band from the movie American Satan. That's just the band and the manager and the girlfriend continue that world into Paradise City. And then he wrote the pilot, and he was like, yo, let's go do this together. And then we just worked on it for 3 years until it came out 2 months ago.
Now I had read something about now that unfortunately Cameron Boyce has passed away, that his character is supposed to go on. Hopefully I'm not spoiling anything, but it was in the article.
Well, yeah,
but his character is supposed to go on for there's a plan for 5-6 years, right?
Well, I mean, he was like the main engine of the show. He was the heartbeat of the show. And he's the underdog that you're rooting for. You're not rooting for Johnny's. Johnny's. I mean, he's kind of has the moments where you're rooting for him because he's just has it all and is just kind of selfish. So but you do have some hope for him because he cares for his girl and he tries to fix that. And while he's hiding that he has a baby mama and he has a baby in the show, I mean, that's the shit that happens, right? But
yeah, we all have that.
Yeah, we all have babies.
But what's funny? I felt like his character, originally, first impression was I wanted to hate him, but I'm like, he's not a bad guy. He really wasn't a bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. You can't root for. It's hard to root for him, but it's hard to hate him at the same time because he's just conflicted with a lot of the everyday life people deal with in this world. You know what I mean? I mean, in the rock world, you know what I mean? As you're a singer, you're a star, you're a good-looking guy, and you got all these, people throwing themselves at you, and you got your childhood girlfriend that you love, and you want to do the right thing, but you're just caught up. My father says it best. It's hard to be handsome. When you're handsome, you're always in trouble. So that's And
I said that we have to mention tonight that you're fucking sexy.
oh, come on.
I said that. I'm just saying.
Thank you, sexy bastard.
So
Cameron, yeah. To answer your question, he would have to be, obviously with a heavy heart, recasted, and figure out how to make the person that replaces his beautiful work, do it justice. When the was gearing up for season 2, there's no 1,000% green light on that yet, but he is a major influence in the show. So it's kind of crazy that that's the last thing that you ever seen Cameron do. It's he's not in anything else. I don't think that's coming out. I think that's the last thing that any of his fans can go and watch.
Yeah, he was an amazing actor. I mean, he didn't have much time, but what he did with it while he was there, from Jesse all the way through the Descendants to this, I mean, he was
a great kid. He was great.
From everything I've heard, I'm forgetting her name, but the one who played Jesse, like she always talked that behind the scenes, like it was always her and him like goofing around, and like that she was like close to and everything. And yeah, he seemed like he was awesome.
Yeah, he was he was just a sweet guy to everybody on set. Nobody was, everybody was equal, and he was very kind and happy, and never, always professional, never had any drama, never any like demands of I want this, I want that, never anything. Man was just like a straight shooter, was happy to be there and loved his character and loved everybody on set. So he was fun to work with.
Now, John and I were talking before we were going through the cast of the show, and we were just like, holy shit, like everybody that you guys got to work on the show, it's like, how did you line them all up? Like they're I mean, from him to Dre
the first person I saw, and I was like, wait a minute, how did you get, like, you had the lead guitarist for Alice Cooper, you had Nita Stratus, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, all right, that's number one. And then I'm watching, and then you had, I mean, obviously Bella Thorne, and then you had Ryan Hurst, and you had
Perusa Ball,
Jim Ross, from I was like, and it kept going and going. I'm like, how did you pull this cast together?
Just relationships, and we called it the casting couch. We just casted from the couch while we were writing. It was a insane time while we were just sending out emails with offers, and some of them we were friends with, some of them we became friends with after, but we pieced it together. Jim Ross was in our first movie that we did together, so we brought him back. Nita. So originally, the guy that was going to play Jay was going to be Ric Flair, and then I said, let's get Nita because she was our guitar player on our label. And then I was like, why don't we get Nita to be Ric Flair's daughter, because Nita is so supported by the WWE. If you have them two together, there's marketing power with that, and you got Ric Flair playing this crazy dad that's trying to get his daughter to be a rock star, and she's the guitar player. So I said, we got to make her the daughter, and then whatever happened, it turned into Val Wolf, and then she became the guy Jay because Ric Flair couldn't do it. He was ill, and he couldn't film that week, so it just threw a wrench into everything. And then we had to actually recast the original guy it was based on, the guy that used to run the place in Springfield, Virginia called Jack's. So Jay Nedry. We recasted him, and he did a good job. He's never acted before. We're just like, we're gonna bring the real deal to it.
Yeah.
And Nita never acted, so we just wanted to cross pollinate a lot of the artists from the label, and yeah.
Yeah, and you got Drea De Matteo from The Sopranos on there too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who. Oh,
she's the best. She's like a sister to me. I mean, I like we're both from Queens. Forget it. She's the best.
and I don't know. Does this guy play the manager of the guy with the crazy hair and the
Mark Boone Jr. from Sons of Anarchy.
that's what he was from originally. That's right. Because I was talking to John. I'm like, that's the dude from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Bill Burr's episode. I'm like, that's the guy.
Yeah, he's a good man. Love Mark Boone Jr. Ryan Hurst is great. Reese from he played Billy Walsh on Entourage. You got Natalie Eve Marie. She's back on the WWE. I think she was on Monday Night Raw 2 weeks ago. Fairuza, Brittany Ferlin. She's married to Tommy Lee. We got me. We got Sid from Slipknot. The DJ from Slipknot. We got Javier from Animals as Leaders. We got a lot of great people. I mean, I may be forgetting some, but it's just, Perry Reeves from Entourage. We got Perry Reeves, she was awesome.
We going back to what we were talking about before when we had said about the character, like John said, I wanted to hate him in the beginning, but you really can't. And I feel like a lot of the characters in this show, they're not bad people. They might seem that way or for a time or a scene or whatever, but deep down they're really not. And Fairuza's character, she seems like a shitty person, but she's also trying to be the best, to figure out what's the best for my daughter. What?
Well, she's conflicted because they're broke. They live in a shitty part of Vegas, and her stupid daughter wanted to be a groupie and got knocked up, and now she's got to figure out how to get her daughter to how are they going to pay for the granddaughter? I mean, I don't think that anything is malicious coming from her. She's just trying to look out for her blood. I mean, she may seem like she's cold, but she's just looking out for her grandkid, and she does a great job for her. She's very demeaning and fucking just evil.
It's funny. I like how you said, Vegas, the shitty part. And when you do from scene to scene, when you do the white captions, you actually did Vegas, the shitty part. And I was dying when I saw it. I'm like, that sounds awesome.
That was the editors that did that. That was either
Glenn that was so cool, man. That was so funny.
I forgot who were the editors that added that text. I know it was funny when we all saw it. We're like, we got to keep that because everybody loved it.
Oh, hysterical.
Yeah.
So we've had a few wrestling references in this interview. So let's talk about your wrestling background.
Well, originally I came to LA to wrestle to try to get a tryout for the WWE. And my uncle was Jose Estrada. He was a very big Puerto Rican wrestler, and he was in the WWF, and he put over the Warrior in Madison Square Garden.
Really?
When I gave him a shot, 1,000%. And when he was
the guy that only lasted 2 seconds while the Warriors music was still playing, he already pinned him.
I think so. But he definitely was the guy that put him over. But I think he was more respected than just getting him pinned that fast. But because he was well known. He was he was wrestling Rocky, Peter Maivia, Rocky Johnson, all of the Rock's family. Because the Rock, when I did the Ballers, when Rob Weiss was like, "Yo, tell him who your uncle is," he was like, "Who's your uncle?" I said, "Jose Estrada." He goes, "The wrestler?" Look, he was like, "What?" He was like, "Yo, that's crazy." And then we just little back and forth talk about that. And I told him that I wrestled with Rikishi and his cousin. That's his family. So, and then he was like, "Oh," and I said, "Oos," because that's the Samoan brother. Word for brother. And I loved wrestling. I was athletic and big enough, but it wasn't something that I was in love with to go and risk snapping my fucking neck. Bottom line. I wasn't that in love with it. That I wanted to keep doing it, and I fell on my neck, and I got spooked, and I was 36 or 37 at the time. I was like, "What am I doing? I'm done." I was I got real spooked, and I was like, "I'm good."
It's so funny. I mean, nothing comparing to you, but I'm on a 35 and over softball league, and I don't slide because I'm nearly 45 years old. I got a wife and kids. I got fucking a house. I got a job. I can't break a friggin' blow out a knee or whatever. So I'm just gonna run, and if I barrel into you, it's I got more of a chance than if I'm sliding and break my leg.
I love softball, man. I love playing softball. You saying you play softball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love being a first baseman. That was my shit.
Yeah, I'm fucking awful, but but I still do. Let's see. So yeah. So where is the series is available on Amazon?
Amazon Prime. It's available on Plex. It's available on iTunes, Google Play, Fandango, and Microsoft is got a streaming app now that I'm not aware of, but they do. And I think we're gonna do something with Roku soon, and Peacock or Pluto it should be coming out with. I'm not 1,000% sure. Those are questions that our distributor knows more than me of the time and dates of when all this is dropping. But there are like tiers of when these things are coming out.
Do you have any speculation on season 2 or?
Only time will tell, man. Everybody wants season 2, that's for sure. I'm telling you, all the fans do. All the the crew. Shout out to the crew. I want to give a shout out to them. The crew, from the PAs to the grips, the electrics, the grip and the electric. The gaffers. Everybody who's the people that are driving the cars, the people that are picking up garbage, everybody that's doing the job that they don't really want to be doing. And they're there and they're just as exhausted as everybody else, and they want to go home. It's cold or it's hot and they're tired and they're wearing a mask now and they're just fucking burnt out. Day 14, day 26. Shout out to them first, because without them, you ain't going to get your movie made either or your show made. And, they don't reap the benefits of being on the poster or having their name as a credit. And they don't reap any of those benefits except credits all the way in the back of the, at the end of the scroll. So I just want to shout them out because those people are really, in background, big time. You want all those big concert scenes to make it look good, you need a lot of background.
Yeah.
It's and those people are the ones that, are still there hoping to get discovered, hoping to find something, hoping to, I've been there. I know what it's like, and it's a shitty feeling when you feel like nobody cares. So shout out to those guys.
So one other thing about the show.
Hold on, let me just say.
All right, go ahead.
The fact that you just said that, man, really, really impresses me, man, because not enough people, give the proper credit to the people that are behind the scenes, busting their ass like that and doing all that stuff. For you to really like single them out and stuff, I just think that's awesome.
Well, the bottom line is that they're there before you. They're there before the talent. They're there. Most of them are there before anybody else because, they got to load in. They got to do all the shit that nobody wants to do. And, they're there before after you leave because they got to do the shit that nobody wants to do is pack up and get out and move on to the next location. So their days are 17 hours, but when you are 14 or 12 hours, and you get to reap all the benefits as the big shot, me, mine. At the end of the day, those people are there working for way less, and they're hungry, even though everybody who's on the other side of the spectrum deserve what they got because they worked for that. But what I mean by, shouting them out is because they don't get the shout out. Everybody says cast and crew, but that's the easier way to say it. I want to just really dive into who is the cast and crew, the crew that, of course the DPs get a lot of the love, and that's, like you ain't gonna get a great picture without a great DP and a great AD and a great, production designer and a great wardrobe and a great director, great script. You need all those elements. But the people that are on the floor and they're grinding, you know, picking up the garbage or feeding you your food while they're standing by crafties and they're cold.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yeah,
that's why I want to shout
stuff that needs to be the stuff that needs to be done at the very last second, like, oh shit, this needs to blah blah blah, and they just go and start doing it.
That's why it's like the PAs and the seconds and the people that are in the offices, the line producers, the people that are production managers, like all those people that really facilitate the mechanical parts of making a film or making a television show. They don't get the benefits of being the creator, the executive producer, the writer, the actor, the star. They don't get none of that. Although they're probably aiming for it, or maybe they don't care to have that. But what I want people to realize is that I notice what they do, and that's who I gravitate towards. That's who I hang out with, is the PAs and the people that are, kind of like, man, I'm happy to be here, but damn, I wish I was doing what you were doing, because I've been there and I know what the fuck it feels like.
John, you were saying?
Yeah, so I am noticing, like I said, I'm 5 episodes deep, and I'm noticing, and I didn't see the prior American Satan thing. So I'm noticing there seems to be a little more to it than it's just a band, or there's some other stuff going on that hasn't really been revealed yet. Like is there more to the show than what we're seeing right now? Because the one person kind of like disappeared out of nowhere, and you're starting to see the cab driver was the Uber driver. It's kind of like,
well, she's Capricorn. She's pretty much supposed to be the devil, right?
Okay.
And Gabriel, who's Hobson, the great rapper Hobson, he's Gabriel. So that's supposed to be one of God's angels. And that's just pretty much good and evil, influencing them to do good or bad, or just being in there and kind of being like philosophical to, Gabriel's very poetic and trying to be inspired, like trying to be very philosophical and, why are you doing what you're doing? Blah, blah, blah. And those in that aspect. And then you got Capricorn, who's, really some kind of evil witch, even though you feel like Feruz's character is the witch.
Right.
Capricorn's really the witch.
See, Paradise City, Garden of Eden, Paradise Lost, City of Angels. Come on, John.
Hey, I just want to know before I start watching more, because I'm totally gonna watch everything I can, because I absolutely loved it. I really did.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hear people. I love hearing people love it and talk about it greatly, because everybody broke their ass. Shout out to the 300 people that broke their ass on that.
On that one.
400 people. I got to be honest. It was like 400 people probably, because there was 100 cast members alone.
Now, what was the name of the original movie?
It's called American Satan. I think it's on Showtime still.
I was just gonna say, where can that be found? Because I definitely want to go back and start
iTunes,
beginning.
iTunes, Google Play. It's on Amazon. It's on all the on all the platforms. But it was on Showtime for like 2 years. I'm not sure if we renewed the deal or not, but it's out there. It's a fun, rock and roll metal movie. Very similar to. It's a little darker than Paradise City. It's a lot darker, but
So I asked you about the, if there's going to be a season 2 or whatever like that. But I mean, you guys should have no problem, getting a season 2 when you're the #1 drama and series on iTunes, and you're trending through all like Vudu and YouTube and iTunes and Amazon.
Vudu, that's another place that it's on. Vudu, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was #1 TV series.
Yeah.
On iTunes. Number one TV series on Fandango. Number one TV series on Amazon when it was transactional. So meaning when you can buy the season or buy an episode per episode purchase, it was number one. And we were on top of all those monster shows, which was kind of for like a couple of days, which was really a great feeling. But we don't know what that means as far as numbers because I don't know how many people are buying those monster shows, but those monster shows have 30 million fans. So 20 million fans. And at the end of the day, it could have meant great stuff, or we just haven't found out how good it means. But it's a good feeling to be on number one on all those platforms for a couple of days straight.
So where can people follow you, like on social media and stuff?
For Instagram, my handle is Lorenzo Antonucci. So Lorenzo Antonucci Jr. for Junior. So Lorenzo Antonucci Jr. You can follow me on Instagram for that. On Twitter, it's Real Antonucci. And then Facebook's just Lorenzo Antonucci.
And what's next for you? What do you got coming up?
Oh my God, what is next? I'm doing so much right now. I just finished a movie
Do
called
it all, man. I want to know everything.
Yeah, I just
I want
finished
to know where to find you.
White Elephant with Michael Rooker, Bruce Willis, and Olga Kurylenko and John Malkovich. I just finished a movie called Reactor with Bruce Willis and Matthew Marsden and Patrick Muldoon. I just shot another movie. I ain't naming the name, with Travolta. I'm not going to confuse anybody because it's with Travolta in Hawaii, and I'm not confused. I'm just I'm going back there tomorrow. I'm leaving in the morning.
Wow.
Back to Hawaii.
I saw the picture of you on Instagram because now I stalk you.
Yeah, thanks.
So I saw the picture of you with Travolta on.
Hey, he's a Jersey guy, just like you guys.
Yeah.
Where's he from in Jersey? Him and Bruce are from Jersey.
Yeah.
Jim and Bruce.
Yeah.
First movie they've done since Pulp Fiction. That's all I could say.
That's right.
You can find it. You can find it, but I'm not saying it on here because it's just too confusing for anybody else. If you understand what I'm saying, then you know why I'm not saying the name of it because it's just too confusing. You'll Google it and you'll be like, oh shit.
You mentioned the movie that you're doing with Michael Rooker.
Fantastic.
I saw the picture of you shooting at the range with him.
Dude, he was showing me how to shoot, and then I hit like 5 targets or 6 targets in a row after he really properly showed me how to shoot a 9.
Really?
It was and then I shot a 45. Yeah, it was cool. He's such a sweet man. I can't wait to work with him again. I'm supposed to be working with him again this year. It feels like lots in the pipe. A movie called The Free Fall. That's with Sean Ashmore and Andrea Lando, produced by my brother Shawnee DeMont, and one of the executive producers is Sean Reddick from Get Out and Black Klansman. That should be coming out fourth quarter around the Halloween time, hopefully. I shot a movie called The Way. It's pretty much Dead Man Walking meets $1 Million Baby. I played Tyson in that. It's pretty dark and deep. What else? I shot 2 pilots. A pilot called it's a mob series with Tom Sizemore called Scarlet. It's a TV pilot, Scarlet, and with Tom Sizemore, Michael Starr, a couple of great legends, Michael Pare. I'm always calling it Michael Pira. He's from Eddie and the Cruisers, man. He's awesome.
Oh, dude.
Michael Pare. Oh, man, Michael Pare. He's amazing. He'd kick me in the ass if I he's great. I love we hit it off. He's a Brooklyn guy, so we hit it off big time. Michael Pare. I call him Parab, but like I said, I didn't go to school, so it is what it is. Nobody's gonna kick my ass for that, right?
What was it like hanging with Sizemore?
Oh, he's incredible. As an actor,
he must have some
fucking character. Oh my God, I can't even. I mean, this guy was just fabulous as an actor. To walk you through what happened that day is a story in itself, and I don't think I can tell it yet. But on the next one.
He just seems like a guy. I don't know how he became this way, but he just seems like a guy that doesn't give a fuck.
I mean, I don't know him well enough. He does, because he turns it on like that, and he just delivers such a fucking fabulous performance. I mean, it was really good. I play his son in the pilot. Nice. So that will be, hopefully picked up. And then me and Gino Caffarelli and Carmine, we did a pilot. It's kind of like it's called right now. It's called Hit Your Mark. It's kind of about the industry, and it's kind of like what would happen if Vincent Chase from Entourage, before he was a star, how he got to where he is. It's kind of like it's not a prequel, but it kind of is. What would happen from a guy from Queens, really, because we're really from Queens.
Yeah.
And Gino's from Queens, and Gino's on all over the Godfather of Harlem right now. And Gino Caffarelli, he's killing it. And it's he plays Pete Salerno, and I play Nick Benelli, and I'm always the big shot guy that's always booking everything, and he's fucking suffering, and he comes to the audition, he sees me, and he's just like, oh fuck this guy. it's that humor. It's kind of like Curb meets Entourage. So, but just Queens. We shot it in Queens and in LA.
So what are you gonna do when all these pilots get picked up?
I don't fucking know.
And
be happy.
A second season of fucking Paradise City coming along.
Well, Cracker is gonna get made too right now. Vera with the platform. They're another name that I'm having trouble remembering. Vera is a platform that's putting out the short that I did, Cracker, and it's gonna be it's a little mini theatrical, and they're doing a great amount of marketing right now, and it's kind of wild that that's going to start happening in the next 2 weeks. And I kind of like it's a outside the box thinking character of mine, but it's a great performance, and people that see it are just like blown away. It's a different animal, and that is going to be a series, and that's what the director and writer has been really gearing up for. And I'm an EP on it, and I've been championing this thing since day one. I helped find the financing. My cousin put in money, and one of my best friends from back home, they put in the money. Actually, Anthony from E-Town, he's one of our partners and investors, and that's Anthony is a freaking legend in Jersey, and he's our partner in it, and and we shall see how how it all turns out. But it looks like it's got really great momentum, more than ever right now. So that if that turns into a series, I'll be shooting that. I'm the lead in that one. And the guy that I play opposite just won a SAG award. He just won the best supporting actor, Hakeem Kakazem. I love Hakeem. I'm screwing up his last name. He's gonna punch me in the mouth too. Kazam. Hakeem, I love you, Hakeem. That's my man. And he's gonna get a fucking Oscar. He's so good. He just won a SAG award. You know how the SAG awards are, those are real awards. You know what I mean? He just won best supporting actor. I'm so happy for him. He deserves it. He's gonna get an Oscar next. And I hope that I'm opposite him when he wins that one. And that's coming. Just dropped a comic book series. We dropped a press release. It's called Night of the Cadillacs. That's going to drop in October on Stout. That's the distributor. That's going to be our publisher. It's our publisher, distributor, either one of them. And we're going to turn that into a monster. I mean, these characters are just, it's pretty much the Warriors meets Lost Boys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the character. Yeah, go look at look up Night of the Cadillacs.
I'm gonna be Googling the shit out of you tonight.
Yeah, look up Night of the Cadillacs on and just look up Hollywood Reporter, and then that article will pop up, and you can read what it is. I could that's our baby right there. And that's another one that Shawnee DeMont did. Me and him go back to, he was in a punk band. He was a bass player in a punk band. We go back 21 years, me and him. So he's, you know, he broke his ass on getting that one done, and that's going to be a sick comic. I mean, we got 2 comics coming out, volume 1 and 2. What else is in the pipe? I mean, I'm going to shoot this movie now, and then I'm shooting like 4 back to back after. Yeah.
Is there anything that you haven't done that you want to do?
I've never been in a private jet. I mean, I'm just being honest. I've never been on a private jet. I mean,
sounds like it's coming. Sounds like
it's coming.
It's coming very soon. Don't worry about it. It's coming.
My dear friend, brother, he owns one, but I've never been on his jet.
Talk to Travolta.
I mean, he has 2. And he has a fucking tarmac in his backyard. I mean, it's fucking fabulous. You know what I mean? What I would love to do is I would love to, you know, one day have a kid that my father sees, you know, and he has a little Lorenzo grandson. That's one of my dreams. You know, it's got to be positioned right for me. It's got to be the right timing. And he's 89. And I hope for his 90th birthday, I can do something big and all my friends can help me do it. For his 90th, which will be in April. Those are the things that I haven't been able to do, is something big for him and show him my appreciation. Definitely would love to be in a private jet one day.
Maybe take your dad on a private jet.
Well, that's what to do it out here. I would only fly him on a private jet. I wouldn't do commercial because he's too fragile and old, and he's, you know, the virus. I mean, he's vaxxed and everything, but I would
take him into Teterboro.
Teterboro.
Teterboro, yep. I would love to do a studio movie. I would love to be opposite the greats. You know, can't wait to do a movie with Stallone. Can't wait to do a movie with The Rock, even though I did a TV show with him. I can't wait to do a movie with Denzel, Viola Davis. You know, those are the dreams. You know, those are the aspirations. You know, like those are my favorites. DiCaprio, I would be more than honored to be in a movie with the greats: De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, Stallone, obviously. But I have a relationship with him, so I think that's going to end up happening. I would love to, you know, find a cure for cystic fibrosis. You know, my niece has it. You know, my niece has it, and that's what my Sworn Enemy movie is about: cystic fibrosis. And that would be, you know, awesome if I was able to do something like that. But this is just dreaming high how to figure that out, because they have a short life expectancy, so it's sad for people who are born with it. But it's growing gradually every decade. It turns into another 10 years, so that's a good sign of, you know, length of time. I would love to, I don't know, I would love to come out on like when all the acting stuff is on top of the world, and, you know, I'm going where I'm going and I'm headed there and I'm gonna get there and I'm not stopping until the day I die. I want to be on WWE Monday Night Raw, with lift crosses and start and jump into like a Royal Rumble and just be the guy that, you know, everyone puts over for some fun reason. You know, like that's another aspiration of mine. Where I'm going is to be, I want to, like, if there was ever a Hatebreed, Madball, and Lamb of God tour or something like that, I would love to be on that tour with them and be a reason that it's actually that much more cooler to be at there and play guitar for each of the bands every night. Play 2-3 songs for each band and be on the tour and drink a lot of non-alcoholic beers for that run.
Remember it this time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, non-alcoholic beers. Well, I haven't had a drink in over 7 years, so I wouldn't be bummed. You know. Nice. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of dreams. I could keep going, brother. Believe me. I would love $1 billion. I mean, why not? I mean, what else am I gonna do? I mean, I'm fighting for my life over here to have everything I want and then be able to give it to everybody I love. You know, that's what else are you gonna do with it? You know, everyone I know that is wealthy, they bless their friends and family. You know, the right way. You don't just give shit away, but you do it the right way. So I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be able to eat anything I want and not get fat.
You and me both.
That's a fact, man.
Toughest thing, man. That's the
Puerto
toughest
Rican
thing.
Italian. I want to eat fucking rice and beans and spaghetti and meatballs and bread and pasta ziti, all this shit every day. Some cannolis, some limbe and all this Puerto Rican shit that I love, and not let it affect my waistline. That's the number one thing I would love.
Yeah.
Eat it all and not gain a pound.
But you're stuck with boiled chicken and broccoli and shit. That's about it. You know?
Broccoli.
Yeah, you're right. I'm stuck with eating healthy, but you know, actually Sunday I did have 8 slices of pizza and a box of Rice Krispies.
That's an entire pie.
Yeah.
If I did the math correctly.
Yeah, 8 slices.
That's a whole pie.
I had 8 slices in one corner Sicilian. So that's 9.
I haven't had Sicilian in a long time.
I love Sicilian. Oh my God. I you know what? Like, I try not to eat too much, but when if I go somewhere, I'll get 1 Sicilian, 1 regular. You know what I mean? We'll do that every once in a while. We're like, hey, let's stop here and get something. So we stop there, we roll up, 1 Sicilian, 1 Sicilian, 1 regular, and then you're good to go. You know?
I like 3. I go.
Yeah, I like 8. I'll tell you, I like 8. But shit, man, the same thing. You gotta watch your waistline, man.
The waistline doesn't like. I don't like the way the waistline looks on camera. That's for sure. Right? That's when I start getting really depressed. After all the hard work, you look like shit on camera. It's not fun.
Oh shit!
That's the hard part, and I can get fat fast. And at the end of the day, if I had to gain weight for a role, I'd be great.
Be like Stallone and Copland.
Like Stallone
and Copland.
Yeah,
I remember reading an interview with him where he said he didn't realize the weight he had put on, and he didn't realize how it affected him and like his surroundings until he turned around and bumped into something that he didn't realize was there. Yep. That like normally being a svelte type of guy, he wouldn't have hit that, 10 years ago, 5, or even months before he started gaining the weight for that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, welcome to my world, Sly.
So that role that I play in the reactor with Bruce Willis in the first one that I was telling you about, I play a cop, and my name is Officer Miles Bledsoe, right? And I have this stupid mustache, and I play a redneck, like a redneck cop, and I'm a little heavier, right? And I've said to myself, I want to be Fred from, Copland. I wanted to have the slow, slurry, but I didn't play that I had a deaf, any kind of, but I did want it to be a little bit like, slow and lackadaisical. And, I didn't mimic the role. I'm just saying I kind of channeled a little bit of what Sly did for Copland, but I think I'm in 4 or 5 scenes, so it's not that big, but you'll see what I'm talking about.
That mustache is famous though, right?
Mine?
Yeah.
They framed it for me. The girl in Georgia, they made me cry. They made the brush. I mean, it's in my place. It's on top of my fridge. It's the mustache, and they all said sweet things on it. It's beautiful people that enjoy it. Shout out to everybody in Fitz family. I love them people.
Well, Lorenzo, it sounds like you got a lot of shit going on. Things are going well for you, and I hope it just keeps getting better and better. And one day, maybe you'll get your Oscar. You won't be on the opposite end of whoever's getting it, but you'll get yours. But I mean, because
you never know, right? I mean, those are some real big ambitions. But hey, I'll be happy just to get a studio film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be a working actor and have everything. But I definitely have aspirations to have it all. Because why else not? Nobody else is not dreaming of. Whoever got it didn't sit there and say, "Oh, I just want to work. I'm good."
No.
out of here.
Wanted
They wanted it and they got it. That's how they
Yep,
got it. They didn't get it by
100%.
law.
100%.
They worked their ass off and they knew what they wanted and they had a goal. And they just didn't stop until they reached the goal. And that's the way 50 said it best, get rich or die trying, you know, but it's not even about getting rich, it's getting successful or die trying.
Yeah.
You know? So that's
all right. Well, Lorenzo, again, thank you so much for taking the time and being on our show. Like it was awesome. It was everything I knew it was going to be.
It's great. Absolutely great show. Great show.
We're so excited about this show. And you know, we're super happy that you were here and we really appreciate your time. And thank you very much. Lorenzo Antonucci, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate having me on, guys. Thanks, Camille. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And I hope to meet you guys someday soon. And
well, hey, man,
non-alcoholic beer.
Anytime you want to come back, you know, you're definitely welcome to come back. Season 2 comes out. Come on back. You know, any of those shows when they hit, come on back. When the movies come out, come on back. You know, we want to promote, you know, because you're awesome. So
thank you. You guys
and like I said, the thing that you said before really impressed me about your character. That you're willing to go and you know, pinpoint each one of the, when you say crew, you know, you're not just talking about the, you know, people, you know, the big people behind the scene. You're talking about.
I'm talking about the people that are in the
little guys,
little on their shoulders, really.
Yeah, they're not happy being there. I mean, they are happy being there because they know they want to elevate, but it's not an easy job, man.
No.
And they get, you know, and they get treated like, by certain people, they get treated like you're lucky to be here, and it sucks to see that. And that's what I never want to be there. Everyone is equal to me on any set. You know?
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here at the Big Stupid Podcast. If you want to take a look for us, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. On Facebook and Instagram, it is Big Stupid Podcast. And on Twitter, it is Big Stupid Podcast. But once again, on Twitter, there is no I in stupid. If you want to give us a call, our Big Stupid hotline is 201-338-0098. See, I remembered that shit. Hey, you didn't think I would.
I was looking for my notepad and I couldn't fucking find this.
I don't need no notepad. I got it all.
I can't remember that shit, man.
All right, guys. Once again, that's gonna do it for us. Lorenzo Antonucci, thank you very much.
Yes.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate
Sean,
it.
you got anything else you want to say?
Hey, have fun, everybody.
Have fun.
You've been listening to the Big Stupid Podcast, presented in part by Anchor. Interested in becoming a podcaster like us? Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place for free. Check out Anchor.fm today. Our theme music is licensed from BKFM Music Production through Audio Jungle. Visit AudioJungle.com for all your royalty-free music and sound needs. Further promotional considerations provided by PowerPod. Guests of the Big Stupid Podcast received no compensation for their time, opinions, or any half-baked theories. If you think you can handle being part of the show, visit our social media sites and message us, or email John and Kevin at bigstupidpodcast@gmail.com. Not good enough for you? Okay, Mr. Big Boy Pants, you can call 201-338-0098 and leave us a message, and maybe we'll play it back on our next episode. Participants waive all rights to anything resembling coherence and or common sense. The Big Stupid Podcast is a production of Party Boss Productions Unlimited. No portion of this podcast may be repodcasted or otherwise transmitted in whole or part without the expressed written consent of Jen. It's on you to figure out which one. Good luck and have fun.